This week we are in Jan Brett week. Jan Brett is a famous author illustrator who writes the words of books and draws pictures. This morning we are reading The Mitten. Say the title for me. The Mitten. Prince over there on the other side of Finley. Livy next to Tegan. Scoot over. Thank you. This is about, like I said earlier, a little boy whose grandma knits him a mitten, and he loses it when he goes out to play, and a bunch of animals try to make it their home. Do you think they will all fit in the mitten? All right, hold on. Let's find out. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool, white as snow. And you can see Nicky likes to play in the snow. And over here, his grandma is knitting him some mittens with wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. "If you drop them in the snow," she warned, "you'll never find it." What is she talking about? Yeah, but like, what does she mean? Why won't he find it if he drops it in the snow? Because it's white, just like blends in, it would be hard to find. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. He's making them in her lap. Nicky's bringing her yarn, just like the yarn you used today to make your mittens. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I will look to see that you are safe and sound. Then I will look to see if you have your snow white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind right there.
Where's the animal?
Well, hold on. I'll give you a hint. You can look at these pictures on the side in the shape of a mitten and see the animal that's going to come next. What's this one called? Do you know? It's not the badger. It's not a bear. It's a mole. A mole. Moles dig holes in the ground. I think it's a mole. Yeah. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed down inside it. It was cozy and warm and just the right size for the mole. So he decided to stay. So the mole is in the mitten. Do you see the animal? So that one will come next. You see Nicky? Yep, Nicky's running around in the snow. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them. But when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, that's his feet, he moved over.
Bunny.
So now the rabbit
I see the
and the mole. What's a badger? There's no badger on this page. No, just a rabbit and a mole. Oh, you're saying the next one? Actually, you're close. The next one is a hedgehog. Hedgie. Yeah. And we're gonna be making a hedgehog this week. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. That's like sniffing around. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled. Jostled is a fancy word for like bumped and shoved. But not being ones to argue with someone covered in prickles, they made room. They didn't want to bother the hedgehog, so they made room for the hedgehog. What do you notice about is happening to the mitten? Yes, it's getting bigger, stretching out. What do we got next? Oh my goodness. As soon as Hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. Commotion is a fancy word for lots of noise. The rabbit, the hedgehog, and the mole were making lots of noise, and so the owl flew down to see. When he decided to move in, also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. That means they kind of complained a little bit. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, his shiny, sharp talons, they quickly let him in. And Owl was now in the mitten. So the mitten is getting even bigger. Ah.
The badger.
You think the badger is next? Oh. I think you might be right, Madeline. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, they saw his shiny claws, my turn. They gave him the thumb. They said, okay, come on. And what's happening to the mitten? Oh my God. What's coming next? What? There's no way a fox fits in the mitten, you guys. That's the end of the story. There's no way it goes on. Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys should see the mitten on this page. It started snowing, but the animals were all snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate, to check it out. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. Drowsy is when you feel kind of tired. The fox poked his muzzle in, that's his mouth. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave Fox lots of room. Look at the mitten stretching, expanding. All right. All right, hold on. Hold on. All right, hold on. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten, all plumped up Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be. But what animal would argue with the bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged to many times its size. But Baba's good knitting held fast. It didn't break.
But why there
It
was a
held
hole?
all the animals,
Wow.
even the bear. A little tiny mouse.
A mouse that
All right, hold on. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left. Do you know where that was? On the bear's nose. And made herself comfortable on top of it. Well, if you had a mouse on your nose, how do you think that would feel? Tickly and sneezy. So what do you think is going to happen? Look on this page. You can see Nicky is finally noticing he's lost a glove. He's like, uh-oh, I lost one of my gloves. Well, the mouse tickled the bear's nose, and the bear gave an enormous sneeze. Huh? 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 And the force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Bye, Miss Tiffany. Wait. Hold on. Relax. So all the animals went everywhere. The mitten shot up into the air. And do you know who saw it falling from the sky on his way back to the house? Nicky saw it. As he ran to catch his snow white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. Remember, she was watching to make sure he was safe and sound. First, she looked that he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new white mittens. And here's the animals are all taken off. They're out of there. That mouse, he ruined it. They were all cozy and comfy. And on the last page, Baba is looking at the mittens and thinking to herself, how did this one mitten stretch and get so big, but the other one did not? Stop. Do you see her looking at the one mitten? The one mitten is way bigger than the other one because it had all those animals in it. Too big. And that is the mitten as read to you by Mr. Beam to his group of customers.